Hello there. Hey guys, it's Jeff from Pressure Luck, and I'm sorry, I was just eating the pasta that I just made with just like, really you can do in 3 ingredients, and you can feed an entire family of 6 for about, I don't know, under 10 bucks. I'm not kidding, I'm not kidding. Alright, it's just like I said with my penny that I dropped before this, and I'm not only going to be doing pasta dishes, so don't freak out, by the way, I just want to make that clear. But I am trying to do something where these are harder times financially for a lot of folks, and I want people to see that you can cook amazing, delicious food with a budget, and they're quick on top of it all. So really, the less you're spending on the ingredients, the quicker it'll take to make. We're gonna make pesto today, a pasta pesto, which, if you've never had pesto before, is basically an olive oil, Parmesan, basil sauce that we will grate ourselves, or you can buy pre-made. Costco sells great pesto, but I'm going to show you how to make your own. Why am I still holding this fork? Just 5 basic ingredients. One of the ingredients I'm going to show you how you can easily substitute, because it's not as common as the other ones, and it's a little pricier, but I'm going to give you a fantastic substitute, and you wouldn't even know the difference when you eat the pesto. And I also was going through my freezer, and I happen to have some frozen shrimp in there that are about to meet some freezer burn, and probably if I leave it go in there another couple of weeks. So I want to get rid of it, and I want to use it, and especially in these times, waste not, want not, I'm going to show you how you can incorporate something that's in your freezer that's ready to maybe go bad into a fantastic pasta dish. Although it's going to be perfect on its own with just the pesto sauce adorning the pasta. So I'm building this up, and it's so ridiculously easy and quick to make. So without further ado, just see for yourselves. Witness the miracle of pesto pasta in the Instant Pot. Presto pesto pasta. It's a lot of snaps, and it's as easy as a snap. Let's do it. Now, I like to use a long noodle for this dish, so I'm going to use linguine. Linguine, whatever brand you want, it's perfectly fine. I'm all for the value brand. This happened to be on sale, so of course if something's on sale, take advantage of that as well. Now, this will be sacrilegious to some, but it is necessary if you wish to cook pasta in your Instant Pot evenly. See, I can't just put a long noodle like linguine or spaghetti or bucatini or fettuccine in there like this, because you know what? When you're boiling something normally on the stove, sure, that's fine. It'll eventually, begin to get break in, bend, and everything will get submerged. Here we have to put a lid on top and pressure cook, and it will not cook evenly at all if we do it like that. Therefore, if this is going to offend you, you've been warned, turn away or look away or put it on mute or something. We have to break our pasta in half. Now, don't worry about it. The benefit to this is A, it's still gonna feel plenty long, and B, it creates more portions. It's easier to twirl around the fork as well. It's less messy. Just look at it, the glass is half full, all right? It's all about that this year. And I'm gonna layer my pasta in a crisscross fashion. Now I'm going to add in 4 cups of broth. You can use any broth of your choice. I'm using garlic broth, but you can use chicken broth, vegetable broth, whatever. If you want to save on an ingredient, you can just use 4 cups of water. That's fine too. I like to use broth because, as I said many times, it infuses extra flavor into the pasta itself. And, again optional, I'm adding my final ingredients before I pressure cook, which is going to be butter. I'm using 2 tablespoons of butter that I cut into 4 pats, and I'm just going to put it on top of my linguine, because not only does it add flavor, but it adds slickness, so the noodles don't really stick together when they pressure cook. They have a tendency sometimes to do that, but even when they do, they come apart very easily when we stir afterward. That's normal, but this will just help aid that along a bit. Okay, and that's all I have to do before pressure cooking. I'm going to secure my lid. Make sure that I'm in the sealing position. And then we want to hit the pressure cook or manual button for 6 minutes. Adjust with the plus or minus or a knob if your model has one of those. And then again, that's it at high pressure. And then hit the start button if your model has one. Again, if it doesn't, it'll start on its own after a few moments. Now you can truly keep this very, very minimal with the ingredients. You can actually just keep the 2 ingredients if you just use spaghetti, water, and a jarred pesto sauce. However, I want to teach you how to make your own, because I'd be remiss if I didn't in a pesto recipe, right? So this is super easy to make. It takes only 5 ingredients, and they're all very basic. So what I want to first do is take about 1.5 cups or a bunch of fresh basil leaves. Sometimes you could find this in the market in a bag, or sometimes it's in like a little plant and you kind of have to rip off the plant. Some people enjoy that. So you can use it, I guess, for like the week or so, whenever the mood strikes, or you can grow your own, of course. But just make sure you're using fresh basil leaves and just rip off the stems as best as possible. That's just how you want it. And I'm adding that to a food processor or a blender, but I would really suggest a food processor. To that, I'm also going to add 1/3 of a cup of extra virgin olive oil. 1/2 a cup of grated Parmesan cheese. You can use the stuff in a plastic container, that's perfectly fine. 3 cloves of garlic that are minced or pressed. That equals about a tablespoon if you're taking it from the jar, which I did. Again, this is all about simplicity and speed. And now our 5th and final ingredient for a pesto is something that's typically known as pine nuts. However, pine nuts are pricey and they're not the easiest thing to find. What I like to use in place of that are raw sunflower seeds or kernels, the same thing. This entire thing cost me $3 and it's gonna last me forever. I mean, it's fantastic. You can also totally use raw almonds, raw walnuts, raw cashews, whatever you want, but sunflower seeds are a great bet. You can also leave them out, but it does create great texture to the pesto. All right, now I'm just gonna put the lid on my food processor and then pulverize into a pesto sauce. And there we have it. Pesto sauce, just like that. Look at that, perfect. All right, I'm gonna set this aside because my pasta's about done cooking. And now that we're done pressure cooking, we'll perform a quick release. And the pin just dropped, so I'm gonna take the lid off the pot, and we have some perfectly cooked pasta. See this? Perfect. I just wanna stir it around a little bit, and anything that's come together is going to separate immediately, and I do credit that to the butter. So if you have some butter, by all means, a great time to use it. Wonderful, this looks great. Okay, now, here's one final thing here. Before I add in my pesto sauce, I'm gonna zhuzh this up a little bit because in my freezer, I had some leftover frozen shrimp. It was gonna start to go bad soon if I didn't use it. I hate seeing freezer burn on my stuff in the freezer, even if I seal the bag in a food saver. It's inevitable sometimes. So I wanted to use this. It's about a pound of shrimp, it's raw. Tail on, and I'm going to just stir it in with my linguine. You do not have to add shrimp. If you're not into shrimp, if you don't have shrimp, if you don't want to pay for shrimp, don't do it. It's fine, but I had this lying around. This is just a good example of making use of what you got, because waste not, want not is really important these days. You would also hit now the saute button. So just give it a saute, and we want that shrimp to become curled and opaque, and once that happens, it's cooked. So I'm going to do this for about 2 minutes, stirring it in with my very hot pasta. You see we have a very little bit of liquid left in the pot, and that's perfect. And by the way, like I said, the shrimp was frozen. So all I did to thaw it very quickly was I put it in a colander and ran cold water, not hot water, cold water over it for about 3 to 5 minutes, and I just like mix it up with my hands, and then it just thaws very fast. Now you can season your shrimp if you want. You can put some salt and pepper on it, your favorite seasonings, that's totally up to you. I just put it in plain because I know when I add that pesto, it's going to create a rich flavor. You can also take the tails off the shrimp, but I think they look a little fancy when the tails are on them. Okay, and after a few minutes of stirring, I see that my shrimp are beginning to curl up and become opaque. That's perfect. I don't want to overcook them. So what I want to do now is I want to take that pesto sauce that I made and add it to my pasta. This is going to make about a cup of pesto, by the way. If you want double the pesto, just double what we put in the food processor. And now I'm gonna hit the cancel button and I'm gonna stir my pesto into my pasta, get it nice and coated with the shrimp, and then I'm just gonna give it a final toss here. Look at how beautiful this is looking. Like I said, you can double the pesto, but I think this is the perfect amount for a pound of pasta. And all right, and that's literally all I had to do. That is it. It is time to serve this up. Okay, so I put my pasta in there. I find tongs is really nice to plate with. It makes it much easier. And I put my shrimp in there. It looks gorgeous. And who says it's not easy being green? Because this was one of the easiest things ever. And if you're just buying jarred pesto, you only need about 7 to 8 ounces worth. That's totally fine. You can find stuff that's on sale. Although if you do buy, I do recommend getting it at Costco. It's a great value there. Or in the refrigerated section of a market. I would advise against using pesto that's sitting on a shelf. You want refrigerated, fresher the better. That's of course if you don't make your own. All right, now it is time to dig in because this looks amazing. Okay, my friends, and there it is, my pesto pasta with shrimp, because we're doing some shrimp. And just look at how beautiful this is and how it twirled. Let's just try it out. Here we go. Okay, the pasta itself is cooked beyond perfectly. Like, it couldn't be more perfectly cooked. The pesto situation is real. It's legit. I would never in a million years know there weren't pine nuts in this. And again, if you don't want nuts, you can just leave them out. But I think sunflower seeds, raw ones, are the best solution. They are super cheap, a way cheaper alternative to pine nuts, and way easier to find. And now let's try the shrimp. Perfect. Look at this, twirling around the fork so beautifully. Okay, so let's recap on how easy this was to make. All I did before pressure cooking was add 1 pound or a box of linguine. I just broke it in half and put crisscross. Then I added 4 cups of broth. Any flavor will work, or you can just use water. Broth just gives it a little bit more flavor. And then I just topped it with 2 tablespoons or 1/4 stick of butter. And I just put into pats. I did 4 pats. But that's optional. It just helps the pasta not really stick to each other. As you saw at the end, it was nice and slick, so it didn't stick. While it was pressure cooking, I made my homemade pesto sauce, which was super easy. I just used a bunch of fresh basil, some extra virgin olive oil, some crushed or minced garlic, some Parmesan that you can totally get, you know, that's the cheap stuff. You don't have to use the fancy stuff, and some sunflower seeds instead of pine nuts, but you don't even have to add that like I said, but you can use anything. There are walnuts, pine nuts, sunflower seeds, almonds, whatever you want, just make sure they're raw. And then when it was done, I lifted off the lid, gave it a stir, added the pesto, or in my case, some shrimp first so they turned nice and opaque first, gave it some heat. When those were cooked, I added the pesto. If you don't have shrimp on hand, you don't need it, it's fine. I had it going in the freezer. It was just gonna, its time was coming up. I didn't want that to happen. I didn't want any freezer burn on my pretty leftover shrimp. So I'm using it. But if you just wanted plain pesto, fine. Or if you had some leftover rotisserie chicken, by all means, toss it in at the very end as well. Look at how pretty. It's so satisfying. The shrimps. One more shrimp up. I'm gonna kiss the shrimp tail, it's that good. Mwah! Delish. Okay, so Richard is down here now because I made him come down here because I'm proud of the homemade pesto sauce I made without using pine nuts. And give this a shot. Tell me what you think of this. This is the easiest thing you could ever make. It's so easy, it's like silly. And it's therapeutic because you're making your own sauce, you know, and you're using a food processor. What do you think?
It's good.
It's a good pesto, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, it's not a creamy dish. You have olive oil, which is good for you. It's a good oil to consume. And easy. You can feed a family of 6 with this.
Very smooth, very tasty.
Yeah. It's delicious. So I'm glad you enjoy it. Perfect. I'm glad you could take that with you if you'd like. Good, enjoy it. This recipe, like I said, will save you money. It will save you money because it's very simple with the amount of ingredients. Again, shrimp, yeah, it's not the cheapest thing in the world, but if you have some in your freezer already, use it up if it's gonna go bad. That's what I did. You could add peas if you want, whatever. That being said, if you like easy, simple, amazing recipes that are just so easy to follow and will make you feel like a great cook with having no training whatsoever, like me, I never had any training, I'm just a home cook. Check out my cookbooks. I have 4 of them, but 3 of them are out at the moment in time that I'm making this video. The original orange step-by-step Instant Pot cookbook is the #1 debut cookbook of 2020 of any cookbook, not just Instant Pot. The blue one's the lighter cookbook if you're looking to slim down a bit. And the yellow one, Simple Comforts. The new one coming out is the green one, which is Super Shortcut Instant Pot, comes out April of 2023. And it's very similar to this recipe because it's super quick, less ingredients, very fast. Every recipe in every single one of my books has gorgeous color step-by-step photos and a final shot of each, as well as a timing bar. So there's no guessing about anything. Literally nothing that you have to guess. I took all that out of the work for you. There's no math, none of those equations. I hate that kind of stuff. Thank you so much again for watching. And the next time you want to use your Instant Pot and act like a magician and say presto, you want to make some pasta pesto. And yes, I am using the tongs to just eat it out of here. It's just me and Richard, so whatever. It's amazing. Enjoy.